Good morning, what's up, Tamara? You guys enjoyed my show on me yesterday. I love your SHL videos. I know. I love your seafood videos. I know. You're sick. I'm saying. Yeah. What if you're wrong? I'm going to admit, guys, I could be wrong. As I told you, you have the two answers, obviously. Either it doesn't make it. Maybe the Canadian talent, maybe the CFL's revenue even dips in quality, dips in revenue. Maybe it flops, right? Because the American players don't put on the Canadian players don't put on as much of a show as the American guys. So I could be wrong. Maybe there just isn't a big market for football in Canada, obviously. So maybe the American way is the go. But I highly doubt it because they've been doing this for obviously since the league started. This is more than 60 years. They've been doing this for like 90 years. CFL started like in the 30s, right? Obviously, and even in the 30s, like the CFL became an official league like I think in the 50s. But before that, the league was still going on, but it wasn't really an official league. But even before it was an official league, they always kept bringing up these American guys. Obviously. Yeah, even before. Yeah, even it's a bias. Yeah, the bias has been going on for like 90 years, man. More like 50, 60 years when the league officially started. And I know the CFL obviously got envious of the NFL, the NFL's popularity. The NFL started, CFL started, the NFL grew in popularity, and the CFL is not that popular in Canada. And the CFL always kept bringing up all these American guys. Been going on for like 60 years. Even when Russ Jackson played, the bias was going on. That's why Russ Jackson's so respected, right? Because he was a starting quarterback when the bias was still going, when the bias was also going on. He actually started, he was so good, he started for 12 years. And he's the most respected QB legend in the CFL. Obviously, after trophy announcement, right? Only CFL Canadian legend who has a trophy announcement. No other CFL legend have trophies announcement. Russ Jackson does because he's Canadian. Yeah. But I could be wrong. Maybe the Canadian talent won't make a difference, and maybe the league might even dip in revenue. The CFL World Guard would tell me, I don't know. I think if you do this, the revenue will dip because they're not as talented. They don't put on. They're talented, but they don't put on as much of a show compared to the American guys. The Canadian guys are a bit more raw in the way they play. The game, the entertainment value of the game might will go down. It's not as entertaining football. That's why the CFL doesn't start the Canadian players. They don't think they're good enough, obviously. And they bring up all the American guys. They bring up the American guys for the entertainment value of the game. Yeah, and it's high. Yeah, they put on the Americans are the main reason why the CFL is so entertaining. Obviously, they put on a show, which is true. That's why the CFL does that. But I mean, they've been putting on a show for decades, and no one kind of cares about your games. But I could be wrong, guys. Right? I'm talking to all you. I know all you American. Yeah, I mean, you're being a bit too hard. Yeah, I know all you American guys think I'm a dick. You work in the CFL. Yeah, you're such a fucking asshole. I know you guys think I'm a dick. I'm an asshole, obviously. But I'm gonna admit, guys, I could be wrong. Maybe the Canadian talent doesn't make a difference, even if you market them. The key is marketing. If you market them on TSN, you market them at universities, especially the quarterbacks, maybe it doesn't make a difference. But the key is on marketing. You have to really market them well. Market the Canadian quarterback. Witness the best players in Canada be for the Grey Cup. And you market them at universities. Some of the students universities know some of these players that got drafted. The students at universities know some of these players got drafted, and some of these players saw these players play football in college. And that's how the league grows in 20 years. Or it could flop and the league even dips in revenue because the quality dipped a little bit. So I could be wrong, guys, right? Yeah. That's why I always say you have the two answers. I will tell the board members, yeah, I could be wrong. Either the fans in Canada just don't care about Canadian football. Even marketing the Canadian talent will make a difference. In 20 years, your league won't make any more money or can even dip in revenue. Or they don't care about your American star players. That's the other answer. one of those answers is obviously true. I don't know which one is true, but obviously one of the answers is true, obviously. Yeah. What answer do you think is a true answer? I think it's the Canadian talent because university football in Canada is the most popular sport at the university. All the games sell out with like 6,000, 7,000 fans who go to the games. The Panda game in Ottawa, you have Ottawa University versus the Carleton Ravens. My younger brother played for that university. The whole thing sells out at the CFL Ottawa Stadium. 24,000 of students go to the games to support the Canadian football players play, obviously. So there is a bigger market with the Canadian talent. Like, it's common sense. But the question is, if the quality dips, it's not as entertaining football compared to the American guys. Less people might be Asian games, and the league can even dip in revenue. So it's like, that's why the CFL will never do that, because they see this risky item. It's risky. Obviously. You can't do that. They downgrade the Canadian talent, obviously. That's cool. I don't know. But I could be wrong, guys. Maybe the league will even dip in revenue. But something tells me I'm right. It's the Canadian talent, man. If you just market them well, especially the universities, and on TSN, do nationwide commercials, witness the best players in Canada compete for the Grey Cup. Obviously, and you have the CFL on TSN and panel talk about the franchise quarterbacks. Which of these Canadian quarterbacks will take their team to the Grey Cup? The league could be very successful in like 20 years. Not overnight success, but you grow it. 15, 20 years, it can grow to $500 million. Or I'm wrong and it flops and the league even dips in revenue, or it doesn't make a difference with the Canadian talent. That's the other answer. Obviously. I know all you American football players and people think I'm a dick. You're a fucking dick, man. Yeah, I know you guys think I'm a dick, but I could be wrong, guys, right? Maybe you guys are the key to growing the league, but I mean, CFL's been bringing up you guys for like 60 plus years, and like your league is only peaking at a few $100 million in revenue, man. So it's like, the fans in Canada obviously don't really care about the Americans our players in the CFL. That's just the truth. I don't need to be an asshole. The Canadian people, right? They don't really care about the Americans our players. Don't even care what percent. CFL brings up here, right? Yeah. So if you're appointed CFL commissioner, yeah. If they interviewed me for CFL commissioner, this is what I'll pitch to the Board of Governors. And they would laugh me off as crazy. All right, we're not going to do that. No. I'm like, why? Why don't you trust your own Canadian talent? Ivan, they're amazing talent, but they're not good enough, Ivan. They're good enough. It's just not on the NFL's level, guys, because you're blinded by we're blinded by the American talent. The best Canadian players are amazing, but it's not like the Americans, guys. Ivan, you gotta have these. I know you're biased, and it's been going on for decades. That's why they're never gonna get rid of the American talent. It's a bias that's been passed into the league, man, since the 60s and since the 50s, man. Even the 40s and the 30s when the CFL started, right? Early 1900s, the CFL's always been bringing out these American guys, right? Yeah, man. Is the CFL an older league than the NFL? Yeah, it is. The CFL was around even before the NFL. Obviously, as the Canadians are the ones who invented football, not the Americans, guys. It's the Canadians who invented football. Obviously, but the Americans are the ones who perfected the game over the Canadians, obviously, right? I went on Google yesterday. It said since the 1930s, the CFL started about early 1900s, right? Since the early 1900s, right? Since the 1930s, this is before the CFL was an official league. they were just like playing for fun and everything. Stuff before they actually started the league. Obviously, they even then they've been bringing up the American guys. They've been bringing up the American guys. Then when the league started, they always had that rule where they just bring up all the American guys. I think they realize the American football players are amazing players, and the NFL obviously copied the CFL. Okay, we want to start a league here, and it became so popular, and the CFL obviously got envious, obviously, of the town, and they just been bringing up all these American guys, right? Yeah. Bias been going on for like 7 years, right? 7+ years, something crazy. CFL started, I believe, in the 50s, or around the time the NFL started. The CFL started, and it grew in popularity. The NFL in the States, and the CFL was not that popular. The CFL is obviously envious of the NFL success. They envy their talent. That's why they just bring up all these American guys, obviously, for decades, man. 70+ years of history, whatever it is, and you're peaking at $300 million after 70 years of CFL history. Yeah. I could be wrong. Maybe the Canadian players don't make a difference, right? Yeah. If the CFL markets them on TSN, witness the best players in how to play. Obviously, they market the franchise Canadian quarterbacks on TSN and the university. They talk about this player play at this Canadian university, he got drafted, can he take his team to the Grey Cup? It doesn't make a difference, obviously. I could be wrong. Yeah. But the fact that the only Canadian quarterback who played in the CFL, the fans love him more than all these American guys. They have a children. That's all you know. The fans love the Canadian. Yeah, and they love the Canadian players more than the American guys bring up here. Because the Canadian players who play in the CFL are actually the greatest players who play the game up here. And they're from here, and their dreams playing here, and they're homegrown talent. The American guys are not homegrown talent. They're not from here. And this is not their league. Their dream is not playing in the CFL. They're only here by default, guys. Otherwise, if they're in the NFL, they never would have been here. I don't mean to be an asshole, you American guys. That's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, you're right. We're only here by default. Like, playing the CFL, guys, is not your dream, man. You're only here by default. Yes, a lot of you guys grow to love the league when you become CFL stars, and the fans love you, and you stay up here. But even if you stay up here and you kill it up here, and, you know what I'm saying, and you become a CFL legend and everything, like, this was still not your dream, guys. That's why it's tough for me to resonate with these American players. I can't take the league seriously, right? Yeah, man. And all you Canadian footballers on top of, we know what you're talking about, man. Like, we love them, we respect them, but we don't really care about them that much because we know, the Canadian fans are not stupid. They know this is not their dream. Their dream's not playing the CFL, the American guys. It's playing in the NFL. CFL doesn't care. We don't care, man. We gotta bring these guys over and have these stars. Yeah, they're blinded by the American talent. They're crazy people. That's funny. Yeah. I'll talk a bit about CFL. I'm going to go back to the SHL, right? Yeah. Yeah. Right, if you were an average person, you didn't have the keys, and you became CFL commissioner, if you pitched your idea to the league, they'd be convinced because I'm a genius. They'll probably tell me, you're the smartest guy we ever interviewed. This could work. You have a great business marketing strategy, Ivan. But man, this could flop too. They're scared of it. It's a little bit risky because the quality will dip a little bit. I get that, guys. But put the Canadian players through a bit of training. Obviously. Yeah. I'll tell the CFL guys, it's not about the quality. It's not about the guys. It's not about the entertainment value of your game, the quality of your game, because you're putting on high quality football almost as good as again. Not NFL level, but almost 12% dip in quality, 10% dip in quality. It's almost as good as the NFL. And all you GMs and coaches on top, the CFL is high quality, entertaining football. Like, it's so entertaining. I'm shocked it's only doing $300 million in revenue, man. The league should be doing 600. 500, $700 million in revenue with that kind of entertainment, man. They're putting on the American players are putting on talent, and the Canadian players too, the best name, the star players. Because the star Canadian players also put on the show, right? But most of the star players, the American, the league should be doing like $600 in revenue with these American players putting on a show on television, and you're only peaking at $300 million. So obviously, it's not about the entertainment value of your game, CFL. But the CFL thinks it has to do with the entertainment value. It's not entertaining enough. We just gotta bring up more talented American guys and just hopefully, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying. And they're unknown to Canadian people. You market them to Canadian people, and you like pray that your league grows. But the fans don't know anything about these guys, and they're putting on a show, and yet no one in Canada cares, man. So it's like, obviously, it's not about the entertainment value of your game. That's a convincing response. Yeah, I mean, that's a convincing response, but if we have the best Canadian players play, the quality will dip a little bit high. Yeah, it'll dip by maybe 2%, obviously. Guys, even though the quality will dip a little bit, is it still amazing football? Yeah, it's amazing football, Ivan, but they're a bit raw, Ivan, in the way they play. The quality will dip a little bit. Yeah, it'll dip a little bit, but if it's good enough for the people of Canada, the fans love the Canadian players, and the league grows, it worked out for the good. Even if the quality dipped a little bit, but I mean, yeah. Obviously. Why doesn't the CFL think the Canadian players are good enough? Because even though the best Canadian players in Canada are amazing players, when you compare it to the NFL, it's a bit of a letdown. There's like a 14%, like something, a little bit, quite a significant dip in quality, like a 14% dip in quality. So the CFL, they're not satisfied with it. And they're envious of the NFL, the NFL's talent pool. That's why they just grabbed the leftover guys who didn't get the NFL opportunity or who got cut from the NFL. They just grabbed those guys and how they be stars, because the American players are so talented. That's why they have those guys be stars up here. They put on more of a show on television. That's what the CFL does. That's why they've been doing that for decades. They don't trust the best Canadian players to put on good enough quality for people who can. That's why the CFL does that. Obviously. My guys, don't worry about it, man. If you want to get better performance from the Canadian players, you have to put them through more intense offseason training, and you really gotta train the Canadian quarterbacks and put them through better offseason training. You'll get a better performance on the field. It won't be like the American guys, but it's almost as good. And if the fans love these Canadian players more than the American guys, and your league grows to $500 in revenue, even though the quality dipped a little bit, and it's good enough for people of Canada, it worked out for the good. Obviously, and the Beauregard will tell me, yeah, Ivan, you're the smartest guy we ever interviewed, Ivan. Yeah, and I recommend you have the offensive coordinators and the defensive coordinators come up with systems to make the game more entertaining. Obviously, come up with defensive systems, offensive systems to make the game more entertaining. Obviously, yeah. So you want, have the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators come up with defensive systems and offensive systems to make the game more entertaining. Obviously, yeah. And you have to put the Canadian players through better offseason training. Obviously, why do the Americans have the edge in talent over the Canadian players? Because they have better training. The American guys have more intense training in the NCAA than the Canadian players do in Canada. I've seen clips of Canadian players training in Canada. They do hardcore training too, but it's not the training that the American guys. The American guys, their training is on another level. It's on another level. They have better training. The American players. That's why they're a bit more talented than the Canadian guys. Obviously, they have better training. Obviously, the American guys. That's why they're a bit more athletic. They're not as raw as the. What separates the Canadian players from the American guys? The Canadian players are very talented and athletic and everything, but they're a little bit more raw in the way when they play. They're more raw players. That's why it's amazing quality football. CFL doesn't think it's good enough. When you compare it to the NFL, it's a bit of a letdown. It's like a 14% dip in quality. Yeah, I mean, like, it's amazing quality, but when you compare it to the NFL, I mean, it's a bit of a letdown. I mean, it's not good enough. We're not satisfied with it. That's why we don't have our drop picks with the stars, Ivan. We gotta bring out these American guys. They're so talented, Ivan. Yeah, they're blind American talent. I mean, that's serious shit. Oh yeah, serious shit going on in our fucking country, man. It's sad, man. Yeah, man. How serious is it, Ivan? It's so serious you can make a documentary out of it. you can make a documentary out of it, obviously. But if a person made a documentary out of it, the CFO would probably sue them for it because it's like defamation, right? Yeah, obviously. But everyone who works in the CFL, the news reporters, the sport anchors who talk on TSN and everything, the players, the coaches, the GMs, they all know about the bias, but they gotta keep it concealed, man. Otherwise, they can lose their jobs, right? Obviously, they can lose their jobs. I mean, that's cold, man. I know. I mean, that's cold. Yeah, it's cold, man. It's cold shit. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Do the GMs and coaches know the drafts are crapshoot? Of course they do. Not stupid. Even though they draft the best players, they know the whole thing is a crapshoot, man. It's like smoke and mirrors, right? They build hype with all these players who they draft and everything, and you see the GM, they call the player. The players are all excited. You know what I'm saying? They even do in the NFL when they do the thing when the best American players eligible for the NFL draft, they go into the rooms and they interview they have interviews with the coaches and everything. Yeah, they do that in the CFL too. Like the Canadian players, they go in the room, the GMs and coaches, they interview them and everything in the room during the combine, right? They do that in the CFL too. And it's entertaining shit, and the players are excited. The GM's like, so you're excited to play pro football and everything? Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited. This is my dream. They all tell them this is my dream. I want to play pro football up here. And like 99% of those guys are bust picks, guys. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's a crapshoot to draft. That's why, yeah. And I'm saying, and the CFO wonders why they're struggling with growth. The league's not growing because the people in Canada can't take the league seriously, CFL. You just can't take it seriously. 99% of your picks are bust picks. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty high number. No, guys, I'm not lying. In the CFL, like 99% of the picks are bust picks, man. Only like a few of them get to be stars. And all the other guys are bust picks. They have like maybe 50 tackles in their special teams career, 2 tackles. They bounce around teams on a practice roster. A lot of them get released. Later on, guys, a lot of those guys get released or they're on a practice roster. They have like 50 tackles, 60 special team career tackles, second, third, first round picks. They bounce around teams and for 5-6 years, and they just retire. And you don't hear from them. They're all bust picks, man. And a few of them get to be stars, obviously, like the old linemen and a few receivers here and there, and maybe a couple free safeties. Are like starters in the CFL. That's it, man. It's a crapshoot. Yeah. Some Canadian players do get opportunities to start. Yes, obviously, but like if they perform bad, then they get replaced with the American. That's how it works, right? In the CFL, they have shorter windows. That's why Trey Ford was obviously crushed when he lost his starting opportunity for the Edmonton Eskimos. Obviously, my younger stepbrother was going crazy about Trey Ford. Oh my God, Trey Ford is starting with Edmonton Eskimos. I want him to be a star up here, and he didn't do that good, obviously. You think he has potential to be great? Oh yeah, Trey Ford has potential to be great. I think he just needs more time to grow as a quarterback. Obviously, the Edmonton Eskimos should have given him at least a good year to grow as a quarterback, even if they had a losing season. But I told you, because he's a Canadian, we can't do that. We don't trust the Canadian players, man. They perform bad. We gotta replace them with American guys. Yeah, but if an American guy performs bad, then for some reason you just give him another year. You give them more opportunities. We do it on because we trust them. We don't trust the Canadian guys. Obviously, yeah, but like I get what you're saying. But if a Canadian guy performs bad, you won't give him more a room to grow to improve in the next season. But if an American guy performs bad, you somehow you give that American guy another year to grow. Obviously, so how's that fair? I even like the reason why we do that because we don't trust the Canadian guys. Yeah, we don't trust the Canadian guys. That's why, yeah, obviously. 'Cause even though Trey Ford performed pretty bad, the other American guy who came didn't do that great either. He was throwing picks. His team, they still had a losing season. They didn't make the playoffs. They're giving him another shot to start this year, which Trey Ford didn't get that opportunity because of the bias, obviously. That's why, yeah, man, he's obviously crushed. Yeah, and I'm crushed, man. I blew it. Yeah, he blew it, obviously. He started and he didn't do that good as a starting quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. Yeah. I remember Mike Riley. I never forget this. Edmonton Eskimos. He signed with the Edmonton Eskimos as a starting quarterback. Obviously, I remember when he was a backup quarterback for the BC Lions, and then he got his shot as a starting quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. First season, even though he put up amazing numbers, but his team had a losing season, man. And, you know what I'm saying, and they gave him room to grow. A couple years later, he won the Grey Cup. He won the championship with the Edmonton Eskimos. So yeah, but for Canadian players, the coaches can't. Yeah, we can't take that risk, man. If the Canadian player performs bad, we're not gonna give him another year to start either. We can't take that risk because they don't trust the Canadian players. Yeah, we don't trust the Canadian players either. They perform bad, we gotta replace with an American guy because they trust the American players more because they're a bit more talented, right? So that works. Not to call that, I know. Yeah, yeah. Mike Riley used to be the starting quarterback for the BC Lions before they drafted Nathan Rook, but he flopped his final year. That's why he retired because I think he knew they're going to release him. He was the highest paid quarterback in the league. He demanded a ridiculous amount of money. Highest paid quarterback for the BC Lions in the league, and he flopped, man. BC Lions were not good, and then they drafted Nathan Rook, obviously, and then Nathan Rook came in, and now he's a starting quarterback. And Mike Riley retired from the CFL. He had a not bad CFL career, Mike Riley, right? Yeah. And now Nathan Rook is a starting quarterback for the BC Lions. Yeah. 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 Fine, the people think the best Canadian players are talented players. Yeah, they do. They do think they're very talented players, but when you compare it to the American players, the NFL, it's a bit of a letdown. There's like a 14%, I don't know, yeah, 14% dipping quality, something crazy. significant dip in quality compared to the best. Yeah, Ivan, when we compare it to the best American players in the NFL, man, it's a bit of a letdown to the CFL. That's why they don't have the Canadian guys start. Because when you compare the best Canadian players playing to the best American players playing in the NFL, it's a significant dip in quality, obviously. It's not good enough to the league. Because they have that bias and they're blinded by the American talent. That's why they don't play the Canadian players. All you Canadian players alive, I didn't know that, man. Yeah, guys, that's why the CFL has been doing this for decades, but I don't trust you guys. I don't think you guys are good enough. There you go. For to put on good quality football people. Yeah, they don't think you guys are good enough quality to sell to the Canadian people, obviously. That's why they don't start you guys. The majority of your draft picks have you be the starters. They have the American guys. They don't think you guys are good enough product to sell to the Canadian people. Even though they know you have higher marketability in Canada, they don't care. Yeah, we know they have higher marketability in Canada, Ivan, but we don't care, man. They're not as talented. We gotta bring these guys up here who no one in Canada knows anything about. The leftover guys, right, who are not the best players in America, don't hate me, guys, and have these guys be stars, but have be legends up here. And they're putting on a show, CFL, but like the fans in Canada, the Canadians obviously don't really care about these American guys, right? Or they just don't care about Canadian football. One of those answers are true, don't you? Yeah. Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. So it's tough for you to take the legend seriously. Yes, man. Because like this was not their dream, especially the Warren Moon story. Yeah, Warren Moon is a legend in the CFL. He killed it up there. He won 5 straight championships. The fans love him and everything. The CFL has been marketing him for like years. Oh my God, Warren Moon is like a legendary CFL quarterback. He won 5 Grey Cups in the CFL, and after that he just leaves to the NFL. So it's like, it finally hit your mind. Yeah, he won 5 championships, but he used the CFL as a farm league to get his NFL shot. Obviously. And he ended up in the NFL, obviously, in the early 80s, whatever it is. Played in the NFL. So it's like, it's tough for me to take the league seriously, man. I can't resonate with these American guys, man. All you can hear about is, yeah, I think you're right, man. You have a good point there. Like, we love the American legends up here, but we know, yeah, this was not the dream, man, CFL. They're only here by default, guys. Had they been in the NFL, they never would have been here. There you go. Yeah. Sarah? Yeah. I was gonna go sort of get my pack of smokes. I work tomorrow, man. I fucking work tomorrow. Wake up at 8, Ivan, you go to work, get it over with, you come back home at 3, and you get your 6 days off again. I get my 6 days off again. I get paid Friday too, like $600 Friday I get paid. I have enough for today and tomorrow. For tomorrow, today, tomorrow, and Friday, right? Thursday, I mean. I get paid Friday midnight. I get $600. Yeah. I'm talking to all you Americans, you always. I know you think I'm, yeah, I mean, you're a dick, I know. I know you guys think I'm an asshole. I know you guys think I'm a dick. Maybe the American talent is the way to go because you guys are a bit more talented than our best Canadian players. You put on the show on television. Yeah, I know. You guys are a bit better than us Canadian players. You put on a show on television. I get that, guys. But this was not your dream. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is not a dream, yes. But if you're leaving your role to $500 million, guys, in like 15, 20 years, all these upcoming American players can get their raises. The CFL can pay them money. Obviously, and it worked out for the good. So I could be wrong. Maybe in 15, 20 years, the league will go $500 million with the American town. I highly doubt it, though, because it's been 70 years of CFL history, whatever it is, and the league is only peaking at $300 after 70 years of CFL history. 70 years, guys. So I highly doubt in 20 years the league will do $500 in revenue, but I could be wrong. Obviously, you think the CFL will ever get to $400 in revenue? Yes, but maybe after like 40 years. 40 years, maybe it will get to maybe $400 million. Like minimal growth for decades, man. After maybe 40 years, it'll get to maybe 390, 380, $400 CFL. They're having minimal growth. Probably, right? Yeah. It was not about that. I hope the CFL grows. Yeah. Yeah. All right, what are the chances you start in that Rocket League? Not high. Chances I'm going to move start VJ, but if I'm king when I'm like 47, 48, all my movie plans got fucked up, I might end up start Rocket League, but chances are I'm just doing the greatest game with Keanu Reeves, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck and all those guys. It might be Jordan, most likely, right? Obviously. Because being a movie star is my dream, guys. I'd rather be a movie star over being a pro athlete. Even though it's close, movies is better. And it's less risky. I don't have to worry about flopping as well. My acting could be pretty bad, but like it's easier to hone your skill as an actor than it is to hone your skill in pro sports, obviously. But I told you I have the genes to be successful, obviously. Seeing Harmony Ivan, man, like don't worry about it, man. If you train, you should be able to heal the best players. I know, guys. If I can flop too, I can flop, guys. Ivan, we saw your hockey video, man. If that's you with no training, that's magic, Ivan. For someone who never trained, that's pretty good. It's not bad, Ivan, for someone who never trained. I get that, guys. I could flop. What if I flop? I have to worry about it. You won't flop. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? Yeah. Because the board guys will tell me, yeah, Ivan, the key to your league thriving is you have to be the star of your league, man. You got to be like a legendary player in your league. You know what I'm saying? Like Ivan, like you got to be like the what? Like a Wayne Gretzky in your SHL, Ivan. Dominate the league. Or Mario Lemieux, whatever. Dominate the league. Obviously. Yeah. With the other star players, right? That's what they'll tell me, obviously. Yeah. Because Ivan, if you want the media, the press, and all the sport anchors talking about you, you have to be a star player with the other franchise star players in your league. Ivan, that's how it works, right? Yeah. That's why the NHL athletes will be crushed. I said, yeah, man, you do that, man, you're gonna crush us, Ivan. We're gonna be, they're gonna be crushed. Yeah. Yeah. Especially Ovechkin, Crosby, McDavid, they're gonna be really crushed because those guys are generational talent, rare, unique talent. They would have made way more money working in my league, obviously, and the fans would have loved these guys way more in my league, even they do in the NHL. They would have been it would have been world famous, man, and they would have been inducted into the SHL Hall of Fame. They would have been legends in my league too. Those guys, yeah, I'd rather be a legend in your league than the fucking gatekeepers in the NHL. Be world famous, and they would, and I missed out on all that dope money, all those hundreds of millions. I ended up making NHL, right? Yeah. And the other hockey players are gonna be crushed too, obviously. Yeah, I missed out on they missed out on the opportunity, obviously. It's too late for all those guys, right? Because I might be king in 15 years from now, guys. So by the time I'm king, all these star players playing now are all retired or they're pushing retirement. McDavid will be retired in 15 years. Obviously, Austin Matthews will retire in 15 years. All these guys will be like in their 40s, man. Like 44, 45 years old will be done, man. And don't forget, it will take another maybe 6 years for the league to start. Once I meet up with the board of governors, it'll take, it's like a 5-year process. I have to build all the arenas. That takes time, and you have to draft the best players. That all takes time, obviously. You have to hire a bunch of people for your league. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah. Sarah. Yeah. 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 Obviously. Yeah. Get my smokes after this. I have to save out on like 5 smokes for work tomorrow. Yeah, I'll save like 5 smokes for work tomorrow, right? Yeah. So you're gonna have the rules with the board of governors. Yeah, I will for the contracts, all that stuff. Yeah, don't sign a player to any longer than 10 years. 11, 12 years is just too long. No, 10 years is long enough for a player in my league for their contract. That's good enough. And don't pay a star player any more than $32 million. They're not allowed to make $40 million unless they're rare, unique, generational talent. They can get paid a bit more. They're 32 to 50, 35 to $50 million. But the GMs can pay them whatever they want, right? GM wants to pay a generational talent 35 million, 32 million. They can pay that generational player 32 million if they want to. The chances are, if it's a generational player, their agents will demand like probably 40, $50 million, and the GMs will probably like pay them that because they're a rare talent and they're a big part of the success of the league. And they put on a show on television, right? The generational players, right? Yeah, yeah. The board guards will tell the board guards will tell me, yeah, I mean, they're not worth any more. Yeah, they're not worth any more than $3 million. Yeah, obviously you want, you want the GMs to peak at, yeah, don't peak any higher than 32 million guys with these athletes. That's enough. That's more than double than what the star players make in the NHL. Obviously, yeah, I mean that's fair. That's what they're worth. Yeah, that's what these pro hockey players are worth. I'm not gonna have these guys stupid, man. I'm not. Don't pay a player $40 million. You're overpaying and they're ripping you off. Obviously, Sincero. And they get league revenue. Okay, Ivan, how much? 5 to 20 million. But don't peak any higher than 14 million for the star players. That's good enough. And generational players make 15 to 20. Only generational talent can get their 15 to 20. The other guys don't peak any higher than 14 million league revenue. That's enough. Obviously. Yeah, that's a good deal. If a player makes 25, 27 million, they get 14 million league revenue. That's what? That player just made what? What, 41 million that season? Yeah, 41 million. Like most pro athletes don't make that, man. Except for some of the star players in the other leagues. Most athletes who who play in the NFL and NBA and all, so don't make that kind of money, man. Yeah, but yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah, you pay a player $27 million a season. They get $14 million league revenue. They made $41 million that season. With their, like, I don't know, $3.5 million magazine deal, they made $44 million. So for 2 seasons, that player made what? $88 million in career earnings. Like, star players in the NHL sign like $90, $80 million deals in the NHL for their like 10-year deal, man. Like, you just made that in 2 seasons. That's enough. Yeah, I mean, that's enough money for them. Yeah, and you want to, they have to take pay cuts. They have to take small pay cuts. That's how it works. Obviously. And the players will allow you to take pay. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. We will allow you to take a pay cut. You're still paying. Yeah, I'm still paying you a lot of money. But you have to take small pay cuts. That way, you have more cap space to pay other players. Because these good players have to get paid like they're 10, 12, 13, 14, even some of them will even make $50 million. They have to get paid, those guys too, right? It's not just about you guys. They have to get paid a lot of money too, right? Yeah. So that works, right? Yeah. Yeah. Why there is no endorsement deals in your league? No. I not sell to the gates. So there is no endorsement. Unfortunately, there is no endorsement deals for my league, all you hockey athletes, but you're still making more than what you make. Yeah, I mean, even though there's no endorsements in your league, we're making more money than what we make in the NHL. Yeah, you're making more money than what you make in the NHL. Obviously, as NHL athletes like peak at like $5 million, $6 million endorsement deals. That's what they peak at with their salary, right? They have their salary and they have their endorsement deals. I have $6 million endorsement deals, $5 million endorsement deals. Those guys make, obviously. Yeah. Whereas NBA players have huge endorsement deals. Some of them even have like 40 million. Like LeBron James, I heard he had like a 50 million. He was making like his 40 million a season, but he had like 20 million or something like that in endorsement deals. LeBron James. So his endorsement deals, he was making like his like 50, 60 million a season, something crazy, or something like that, right? Yeah. Which league has the highest endorsement deals, Ivan? The NBA. NBA by far has the biggest endorsement deals. Because the NBA, you can sell like basketball shoes. They can have their own like shoe brand and jersey brand. So like the players can make a lot more money than the NFL players and the NHL players and MLB players. Their endorsement deals are not as big as the NBA players. NBA players have, some of the star players have huge endorsement deals, but there is no endorsement deals for my league. I do not sell to the gates, so there is no company will want to endorse the players in my league because I do not sell to the gates, guys. The gates control that. Obviously, they control that. Obviously, so the players in my league don't get endorsement deals, but they get league revenue. And the league revenue they're getting in my league is on average more money than what they make for the endorsement deals in the NHL. So it works out for the good. Yeah, even though we're not getting endorsement deals, you're giving us star players league revenue. That's more money than what we're making for our endorsement deals in the NHL. Yeah, you're making more money than what you make for endorsement deals in the NHL. Obviously. Some Sarah. But they get magazine deals though, the players. Yeah. I don't know how much you want to pay the players for magazines. Pay them like 2.5 to like 4 million. Don't pay them any more than 4 million for the magazine shoot. Yeah. That's good enough. They're featured magazines, they get paid for it. Obviously. Ivan, do we get a piece that, guys, I'm paying for the magazine, I'm giving you league revenue, that's a part of it. So stop asking if you can get a piece of the magazine and all that stuff. You're getting a piece of it, I'm giving you league revenue. Ugh. Yeah, because some players might tell me, all right, like, do we get a piece of the merch sales and like the magazine? They're like, yes, guys, you do get a piece of it, I'm giving you league revenue. Yeah, only the star players, right? Good players don't get league revenue. They don't get the magazine deal. Good players are not going to be featured on the magazines. Only the star players. Yeah. They do a magazine shoot and they interview them, obviously, and you have like, you have this like huge interview. Yeah. Interview on the magazine, something cool. You get paid for it. Yeah. Yeah. Will the NHL get the best talent, the best hockey talent when you start the NHL Pro Hockey League? They'll get a little bit of it, but the majority of the best hockey talent will end up in my league. Obviously, as all the sport agents are going to tell the best hockey players in the world to work for me, I can pay them more. So my league will be taking the majority of the best players, and the NHL, they take some of them, obviously. But the majority of the best players will be in my league because they'd rather work for me than the NHL. Yeah. If you want your league item to be better, to be on the same quality as the NHL, you have to draft the best players. That's how it works. Yeah. If you want if you want to have the best hockey players playing in your league, you now have to draft the best players. And you have to draft the best players, the best hockey players in the world, the best Canadian hockey players, American hockey players, and European hockey players. So the SHL scouts have to go scouting the player personnel department. The SHL scouts, they have to scout the Canadians and the juniors, hockey players in the juniors. The NCAA, I believe it's NCAA in the States, NCAA players in the States, and the hockey players in Europe, and that's how the league, the SHL drafts the best hockey players. And you also have to sign quite a bit of undrafted free agents who are also talented players. You have to sign some of that. You have to sign some also NHL free agents, veteran players. A lot of the NHL free agents will, once their contract's up, they're like, yeah, fuck the NHL. I'm working in Ivan's NHL Hockey League, and quite a bit of them will end up in my league, playing in my league. Obviously, the free agents in the NHL, they're gonna leave the NHL and I'm working in my league. Obviously, that's how it works. The rest of that league, right? Yeah. That way, you get good quality hockey, just as good as the NHL, if not better. That's the only way for you to get great quality hockey out. You have to draft the best hockey players. That's how it works. Yeah. 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 Regardless, I man, your league will blow the NHL. I know. Well, That's why all the pro sport leagues will go into a panic, obviously. NFL, even the NFL will not panic. NFL is a big league. Pulling in 20 billion a season, even that league is a pretty small league. Will panic. Oh, yeah, we can't compete with Ivan's SHL league. Ivan's a star player of his league, man, with these other franchise players, man. We can't compete with that, man. Like no one will care that much about our league that much anymore. And all the players even panic too. The pro athletes panic, obviously. They can't compete with me. They're not me, right? Yeah. They're not why. Yeah. That's why they will panic, obviously. Yeah. Do you think the NFL will be less popular when you, if I start the pro hockey league, the NFL will most likely, it will not be as popular anymore. It will still be very popular, but more people, the fans care way more about me as a pro hockey player. They now do these NBA players and NFL players. They care way more about Ivan as a pro hockey athlete. There's high attention now in the NFL and the NBA. That's why they're going to go into a panic, obviously, because they know they're not a side. Their league's on. The NFL is number one in North America, but once I start my pro league, the NFL can't compete with my pro league, right? They don't have the kind of money I have. So they're going to go into a panic, and all these NFL athletes are going to feel like shit, man. Patrick Mahomes will be done by then, right? He's about 30 years old now, so in 50 years, yeah, he'll probably just be retired. He'll be like retiring by then. Patrick Mahomes. But all these athletes are going to go into a panic because they can't compete with me, obviously. They're not me. Yeah, like before Ivan was king, like the fans loved us, we were fucking famous. But now that Ivan's king, he's a pro hockey player. Like he's the main event where all the fucking side tension. Yeah, the side tension there. That's why they are fucking shit, man. Because I'm not fucking king, man, right? King now. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Ivan, just you doing a press conference, you know what I'm saying, and the media interview and you're putting on a show, that's glory. That's glory, man. Me doing the press conference, that's all glory. Let's see. And me putting on a show on television, assuming I'm a star player, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's what they had to bully the NHL water. Anyways, guys, it's just about guys on the shows. I'm Ross Saying, please hope you guys enjoy my CFL wisdom. And I hope you guys enjoy my SHL Rocket League shows. I'm Ross Saying, peace out, guys. Man, go to the store, get my smokes, man. Enjoy the show with you guys. Peace out, guys. SHL and the NHL, guys. Peace out. He shoots, he scores. I don't know, I flop, blah, blah, blah. Peace out, guys.